Hi again, it's Peter for the Romford Horror Film Festival, and I'm with Scott Lyus, the writer and director of Black Mass. Scott, thank you much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for screening the film.
You're very welcome. So, Black Mass,
Yep.
screened at the Romford International Film Festival towards the end of last year,
Yes.
and obviously into the horror film again this
Yeah,
time.
yeah, back.
What did you think about the audience reaction about the film?
Really good,
Good
really
feedback?
good. It's a tough film because it deals with sensitive subject matter. Let's say, like, it's kind of inspired by the darkness people can go through and the lows they can find themselves in, and depression and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you always have a different reaction, because even though it's kind of based on my experiences and a few other people involved with the film, it would kind of be naive to believe that it would register with everyone that's felt some form of depression.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have an up and down reaction, but we kind of try making a film that you could kind of connect with regardless of that, just in identifying with a character and going on their journey. So yeah, in terms of like last time, really good reaction, and it's quite excited to come back actually, and especially for a more horror inclined audience, because it's because it's quite drama with a horror twist as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to see it play with an audience that wasn't completely horror based, and now one that is completely horror based. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that pans out actually.
So do you want to just give us just a brief, maybe spoiler free premise?
Yeah, sure. So the film follows a bereaved family who have just lost their mother. Mainly follows the father figure, who is played by Johnny Vivac, and it's how he's really dealing with it hard. He's got 2 adopted daughters, and they're dealing with it in their own way too, trying to comfort their dad while also dealing with it, themselves, and trying to come to terms with it themselves. And then the dark path that takes them all on, while let's say the depression side of it, or the darkness side of it, is embodied by a character called Darkness.
Mm-hmm. How long did it take you to write that script?
So writing for me it kind of lives in my head for a very long time. I kind of write the screenplay out in my head. So in terms of then putting it down on a piece of paper, it didn't actually take that long. It's probably the shortest writing period I've ever had on any film.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's because dealing with the darkness, if you will, the depression, it took me a long time to kind of come to terms with that myself and own up to it. So it was kind of building in my head, and then the story started to come together after I started talking to other people and what they had been through.
Okay.
By the time that went down on paper, it was quite a quick turnaround actually in getting the film made.
Yeah. How long did it take you to shoot the film?
So we shot it over 2 nights actually. It was quite a quick shoot, yeah. So we were able to kind of fit it in 2 nights, and we rented this really nice house in London. And everyone was kind of on board, and knew what we had to get done in 2 days. It was quite a tight schedule, but I'm so proud of everyone that we worked with and what they delivered.
Yeah, it's really great acting, especially in it. You just mentioned Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny's outstanding.
Yeah, he's a big fan of Johnny.
Yeah, Johnny's awesome. Yeah.
Have you worked with Johnny since then, or have you any plans to?
I do have plans to work with Johnny again.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely going to happen. Johnny is probably going to have a role in my next project, which is my feature film project. And beyond that, I'll try and squeeze him in wherever I can. He's incredible. His dedication to the piece, the way he challenges me as a writer to go even further with characters sometimes and build upon that in a way that works with the story, not just a vain proposition from him to get more screen time. But yeah, he's great. I can't recommend him enough. I really can't. And I'm so happy for the plaudits he's kind of getting on the festival tour. He's been nominated a few times.
So tell us about this future project of yours, what you're working on now.
So my main project at the minute, or actually I should say so right now we've got a short film that I produced called The Vow of Isolation.
Okay.
So that's written and directed by James Perkins and stars Natalie Martins, who's been in a couple of horror branded stuff. We completely shot that in lockdown, completely separate. We just communicated over Zoom. Natalie completely shot it in our house.
Okay.
So yeah, we've literally just finished that, and that's going to come out. And then in terms of my next writing directing project is my feature film Walking Against the Rain, which is it's kind of like an end of the world monster movie that follows two strangers that are navigating a barren landscape. We're shooting it up in the Lake District, and their only form of communication is two soon-to-die battery-operated walkie-talkies.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your peril.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Is that your first feature?
It will be my first feature.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've only made shorts up in this point.
Yeah.
So.
How have you found? What's the biggest challenge in obviously stepping up? Obviously, there's going to be some certain things which are obvious, like budget. I'm guessing.
Yeah. So in terms of that, it's not so much budget as in just like getting the money, right? We all know that we're gonna go for shorts and it's gonna cost a bit more money.
Yeah.
It's actually like the business side of it in a way. It's kind of like when you make shorts, like I've crowdfunded all mine, but even though you want to deliver a good product for the people that have pitched into the crowdfunding, you've got some perks like DVDs and posters you've got to sell. You don't have to make anyone their money back. It's kind of, the money goes in the film and that's it. You make a good film, tour festivals, everyone's happy. But with this, it's the business side of it, and it's the side of it that filmmakers never really prepare for. And it's okay, how do we get the money? One, how do we pitch that and find that? But then how do we then set ourselves up best for distribution and actually make a successful product? Because the end game is, we want to go and make more after that. So we kind of need to make sure we're making one that actually makes money, and then can go and make another. So if I say there's any challenge, it's a completely new field of. Don't really think about the business side of it before so much,
Yeah. So is it written?
Yeah. We're.
Have you got a schedule for shooting?
Yeah. So we're basically ready to go. We are filming in August, September.
Okay.
As I mentioned, up in the Lake District. And we were meant to shoot last year actually, and then obviously pandemic happened.
Sure.
So we got completely pushed back, and then we've had things fall apart as you do on independent features. But yeah, finally we're there. I actually sent the shooting schedule out last night.
Okay.
To everyone. Yeah, screenplay's done.
Yep.
And we're basically ready to go. So I'm quite excited
Fantastic.
to actually see if I can do it.
So is that a story that you've had in your head for a long time?
Yes. Yeah. So oddly enough. The main idea for this was around before Black Mass.
Okay.
So we were looking to do it, we were looking to raise some money, it wasn't really happening. And then things started slowing down, like I said, I was kind of going through a tough time, and then personally I was just like, okay, there's a story I've got to get out that isn't Walking Against the Rain. That turned into Black Mass. And we're so much better off for it because Black Mass turned out to be the biggest short we had ever made in terms of money and just bringing in more crew, more equipment, all that kind of stuff. So it's just really sets up to do something a little bit better. And I think Black Mass is probably our most successful short to date as well. So in terms of them going out to try and find the money, it's like, oh look, we done all this on the last one, and we played all these festivals and won a couple of awards. So it has definitely helped us, yeah.
So in terms of crew and cast and things, how did you find? You've obviously mentioned Johnny, but some of the other people, are they people you've worked with before, or have you gone for new people or a mixture?
It's a mixture. So in terms of cast, we've got some creature actors that are going to be playing our monsters.
Okay.
And the main guy playing the monsters is James Swanton, who played Darkness in Black Mass.
Okay. Yeah.
And then Sophia Eleni, who was in Black Mass, is playing one of the other creatures.
Okay.
And then we've got a great actress called Francesca who's coming in to play the third one. So I've got 3 creature actors, and then the lead female I can't announce just yet.
Okay.
But the lead male we've already announced is a guy called Reese Douglas, who is been in a couple of TV things, but he was in a film a couple of years ago called Cruel Summer that done really well on the festival circuit. So it was just out of that I've never worked with Reese before, but I saw him in that, and I loved him in that, and I just offered him the role outright, and I was lucky enough that he took it. And then crew wise is it's all my crew that have come over from my previous short film. So I like to try and use the same crew every time, build up a shorthand with them, and then when we expand it, add someone to it. And so there's a few people we've added to this that we haven't worked with before. Basically just we've never had them departments because we've never had the money before.
Cool.
So it's mainly the crew. So Neil Parsons is shooting it again, who shot Black Mass, with me also on Echoes of the Past.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
We look forward to seeing it. Hopefully you'll submit it to
definitely.
Romford Film Festival
Definitely.
next
We'll
year.
be back. Yeah.
So we're here at a horror festival. You are a big horror fan, I imagine. What were some of your inspirations, maybe, either behind either of your, Black Metal or this new one? What were some of the inspirations, maybe?
So I'm as you can probably tell, I'm a massive classic horror fan.
Okay. Universal.
Yeah, Universal monsters, like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I kind of grew up with a real fascination of old Hollywood, and then fascination of horror just transitioned into the Universal monster stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, big fan of that, and then in a weird way, not horror related, for Walking Against the Rain, because it's almost like this epic journey across the British Lakes.
Okay.
Quite inspired by like westerns and stuff like that in terms of the big journeys they take across these beautiful landscapes and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's my inspirations there. And then horror, just a bit of everything really. I mean, I'm not kind of set on one thing, if it's good and it captures my imagination, I'll go for anything. But I would say classic horror is probably where I lean.
Yeah. Have you got a horror film that you think is not that well known that you would recommend to someone?
I don't know if you could say it's not that well known because it's done pretty well on the festival circuit, but I'm going to pick one up that you're playing actually. It's a short film called The Cunning Man.
Yep.
Like I said, it's done really well on the festival circuit, so if you follow that you probably have heard of it, but in terms of a wider audience and might not pay attention to festivals, great short, and I believe they're developing it into something a little bit more, so if you can get your eyeballs on that, definitely do.
Brilliant, great stuff. Thank you, Scott, for joining us.
No worries, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
We look forward to seeing you next year.
Thank you.